John Bradbury from Kingston Crossing. I'll be brief. Mr. Mayor, I was just thinking in the work session, listening to the discussion about the resolution that you've offered about giving the citizens of Johns Creek kind of a roadmap about where some of the arterials and collector roads are headed, and what we can do as a community to save our roadscapes and preserve the residential character of Johns Creek. Back during the open house for the 141 widening, that night, Preserve Johns Creek and some other citizen groups, we offered some very reasonable suggestions on things that could be done that would allow for more throughput through the intersection at 141 and State Bridge. And for example, things like taking away part of the island that forces people to make a choice to take a right onto State Bridge as they're heading south on 141. If that was eliminated, that would allow cars to go through the intersection straight, so we could potentially get up to 50% more throughput during a green light cycle. Another thing that was brought up is simply labeling the box being the intersection right there, not Grove Point Road, right there at Medlock Bridge and St. Ives. So right now you've got cars that are, it's a free-for-all. You got buses, cars, everything, and it's unsafe. There are things that could be done, adjustments to the lights. These are things that would not cause us to spend a lot of money, wouldn't have to be a lot of time, and we wouldn't have to have any larger footprint for asphalt. So this is something that, if the traveling public are the patients and you guys are the doctors, we just want a little bit of aspirin while you guys are thinking about what kind of major surgery to do. And we would really appreciate if you guys could be proactive in doing some of these straightforward, low-hanging fruit items that would make a huge difference in the life of the citizens. So that's all I've got. If you would give us an update to the community, we would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. And as we did commit that evening, they're all being looked at, and we will make sure that we post the results of that evaluation.
Good evening. My name's Ernest Musa. I was not planning to come down here this evening, but I was watching from home and watched the work session as well as the first part of the council meeting. And when Mr. Bradbury spoke up and made some comments about 141 and whether or not we should pick the low-hanging fruit in getting some things started on improving traffic flow for us in Johns Creek. I'm thinking that perhaps maybe we're not doing that because we think the volumes are continuing to increase rapidly, but Royce Reineke sent me today the North Fulton Comprehensive Transportation Plan, which is 76 pages, which I believe we paid money for to have done. Page 55 shows the annual traffic volume growth on 141, which is over the last 5 years, 2010 to 2015 is the time frame, minus 1% to 1%. So if you believe the data that we are supporting and we have in this North Fulton Comprehensive Transportation Plan, there must be another reason why the traffic is so gridlocked out there. I have for 2 years tried to express that I believe it's the traffic lights creating a lot of congestion. We have all of us have anecdotal stories about we come up to an intersection and we sit and wait. There's no other cars and we don't know why. I've seen 141 North traffic stopped at Old Alabama waiting for U-turn traffic to go, and there's no U-turn traffic there queued up waiting. I have spent I spent several hours talking with different staff members here about 141 and State Bridge and the problem coming out of the Medlock Bridge, St. Ives intersection, how it gets blocked. Recently I recorded a video where I came up to the light, it turned green, the intersection is still blocked. I was the first car in the queue. Now it's red, I cannot proceed, and then I had to wait another time for it to get through. I've made suggestions to city staff, and what bothered me earlier was the fact that Mr. Bradbury asked where we were and some of the many suggestions we have, because I often hear that we want to hear input from the residents, and I know that I have diligently for the last 2 years made suggestions, and we don't get any feedback. We don't hear any responses. We don't know if it's a bad idea, even though we see it implemented successfully in other communities. So I'm not sure I understand the entire process and why the information flows from the residents to the city staff, and then we don't hear anything back. The 141 third lane through southbound was part of your 141 phase 1 plan for the most part, so there was actually no risk that would be involved in doing it and making it productive for the residents today, because each and every day we have that problem. I've suggested to Justin, traffic light changes to have the arrow occur at the end of the cycle versus the beginning of the cycle at Grove Point and 141 to give some of that traffic a chance to clear. I've suggested that we have some sort of sensor to stop the light, stop the traffic at Grove Point so the traffic doesn't back up into the intersection, because tomorrow morning we'll have the problem. Tomorrow morning we're going to have the problem during multiple light cycles. The next day we're going to have the problem at multiple light cycles, and it's been that way for multiple years. And I've heard many times in this chamber that if there's a safety issue, it needs to be addressed. And I'm unsure why we can't get something even as simple as do not block the box in that intersection so that drivers know not to pull up, because I've seen it done on Old Alabama Road. I've seen it done on Jones Bridge Road. I'm not sure what the residents of St. Ives and Medlock Bridge need to do to get something done out there unless we go out there and paint it on the road ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment.